Hey guys, welcome to Two for Tuesday. I'm Mo McClanahan and I am the educator and director of training for Safe Surfing. I'm also an investigator for the Christiansburg Police Department here in Virginia. And I come at you on Tuesday nights to serve you, educate you, equip you with some cyber tips, and really let's just talk about what's going on when it comes to the dangers of the internet and how it involves our children. Tonight's topic, I want to talk about some statistics. And if you saw either the post here in Safe Surfing about the statistics and the video that was shared, you'll see that there is a lot going on. So 95% of teens have access to a smartphone. And now as school is back in session, our kids are actually going to be online even more, not even with just a smartphone, but with Chromebooks and being required to be online. So with that being said, with the 95% that have access to smartphones, 45% were saying that they were online most of the time. Now, I can imagine seeing that number skyrocket as we all anticipate whether or not, at least here in Virginia, in Montgomery County, if they are going to require schools to be all remote. It's still up in the air. We are planning on half days in school and then half days out, but it's still up in the air. We don't know what's going on with COVID. We don't know what the pattern looks like, but I can tell you that we're seeing an increase everywhere. So let's just talk about what's going on. Like, what kind of cases am I seeing? What kind of statistics am I seeing? Now, as an investigator with Internet Crimes Against Children, I actually receive a report from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that come in weekly. And earlier, when COVID first started and schools were closing, I started paying more attention to these reports because I was very interested to see what the numbers look like. And with these reports, it's people that are reporting cyber tips. So you can report these anonymously online. Sometimes you're going to be reporting them to like Facebook, Instagram. I actually just spoke to somebody last night about her daughter's photo being used in a fake account, and when you report that into the Facebook or Instagram, wherever that profile is, then that generates a report through them. And sometimes if it's dealing with crimes against children or child sexual abuse material, then that gets sent on to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So I was looking at the general number of these reports, and what I noticed was that the average amount of reports that were coming in weekly before COVID hit, we were looking at around 280,000 reports a week. Now that's nationwide. And then as we were getting into schools being closed and kids being home a little bit longer, I looked into comparing it with, say, April, like the middle of April. And the numbers were almost at 1 million reports of internet crimes against children in 1 week. And it had skyrocketed. Now, as the summer went on, school they weren't requiring the kids to be online as much. Families were trying to get out for vacations as much as they can with social distancing. We did see a decrease in the reports. But I'm telling you guys, the decrease is not enough. It is still at 500,000 reports weekly. Now, a lot of these reports are being solicited, sexually solicited online. They're children taking naked pictures of themselves and exchanging them, or receiving unwanted images from other children. And we're seeing some bullying reports. I can tell you in my office that has definitely increased is the bullying. And I really foresee that in the future. I foresee the bullying being an increase because people are going to stop socializing. Kids are not going to see each other in person. They're not going to be able to really get to know each other and know each other's story. And if something gets shared online, it can easily be flipped around. I had somebody where they took an image off of their social media and reposted it into another platform and used really foul language, and people were reporting her and stating that that she was racist and that she that it could become like a danger to her because she had never said any of those things and it wasn't her account. And she's not being able to be face to face with her friends to say, no, I did not do that. Or no, I was with you when this happened. Like, we're just losing that contact. So those are some of the things that with school starting back and whether or not we're going to see them in person or if they're going to be remote, we're going to see an increase because the kids are now required to be back online, whether they're going to school in person. I know for us it's half days, so part of it is still remote. And so a lot of people are opting out and requesting to only be remote. And so we're definitely going to see the increase of the kids go back online where they came off during the summer. They're going to be back online and they're going to be re-exposed. So I just want to give you those real numbers, let you guys know that there is a huge issue and our children are still at risk. I've had so many parents come to me in the last few weeks just with dealing with some of the reports and returning the devices to them, and they don't want to, sorry about that, they don't want to give the devices back. And so we are seeing that they don't know what to do. And I am here to give you the next part of our 2 for Tuesday, and that's to give you some tips. Have the hard conversations. This is where it's really important that you sit down as a family and just talk about these dangers. Talk about the predators being online, specifically looking for them. It's not easy, but once you start having that conversation, then it opens up for continued communication back and forth. So if they were being approached online, they know to come to you. They know that they're not going to get in trouble because it's already out there. And really setting up some guidelines, setting up steps for them to take when they are approached online, or if they see something inappropriate. Always have that open door policy that they can come to you and talk to you about it instead of them fearing discipline or fearing them losing the device. That is huge. And it's funny, I actually was sent a meme earlier today by a friend, and it showed it was using Legos, and it showed the amount of time spent online that kids are online, whether it's gaming, talking to friends, or using social media platforms. It showed like a really high number, and then it showed the amount of parents that are having the conversations, like how much they're actually talking about online safety at home. And I like to really pride myself in stating that is not the case in our home, that I don't tell him everything. I tell him what's age appropriate and what he needs to know, and that there are dangerous people. And when he's not allowed a specific game or a specific app, that there's a reason behind it, and I tell him. So we've had the conversation about TikTok, and we've had the conversation about YouTube, and these are not used in our home. If we do need to use YouTube to really learn how to do something, because that is the best place to go, he knows to come and ask us first, may I look at this site? It's only, I want to learn how to do this, but it's on YouTube. And he knows that, we're going to look at it with him and it's appropriate. So again, the tips are definitely have the conversation, and if need be, set up a monitoring app. I love talking about how there are apps out there that really help parents be able to give their children some experience with social media or a smart device and still be able to monitor what's going on. And that way, it's not something that's found out later on, or that the child's afraid to come and talk to you because you're already seeing that. And so those apps, some of the ones that I recommend are Bark, B-A-R-K. They have really stepped it up, and that app can be actually placed on a Chromebook. And so I love that idea, because depending on what your school system is actually placing on those devices, you want to make sure that you know exactly what it's protecting them from and what it's safeguarding them and monitoring for. Also, Net Nanny is another one, and then Life 360. So I always encourage you to do the research, find what's going to fit in your family lifestyle, and pick the one that really fits. And then a lot of times I get asked the question, well, do they know it's on their device? And again, if you're having these conversations, if you are talking about the dangers out there and it's already a discussion, they're going to know the app is on there because they know you want to keep them safe. And I say, tell them the app is on there, and that way they're kind of being held accountable and they're having to think before they post or share anything. And a lot of those apps you can turn off the cameras, you can set certain settings, and so you can only use the internet at certain times. And they're just really, in this busy world of electronics, a lot of parents are like, I can't keep up with all of this. And I totally get it. That's what I'm here for. I try to keep up as best as I can to help you, but the kids always have more time than we do. And so they're always going to be one step ahead. So let's at least start putting some things in place, start having those really hard conversations so they know to come to you. Maybe it's a friend of theirs that's being victimized and they feel safe coming to you and discussing it. And then if need be, give them steps on what to do when they are faced with that. So again, thank you for joining me tonight. If you have missed any of these episodes in the past, you can go into our IGTV and there are other tips in there from past episodes, and join me every Tuesday. Make sure you put on your notifications for Safe Surfing so you will catch me next week as well. If you have any questions, make sure you send us a message, and then if you want a specific topic to be covered next week, I love getting suggestions, and make sure you put that into the DM. All right, guys, hope you have an amazing evening. Again, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next week for Tuesday.